Self now? Yeah, hey, there we are. We're live. This is High Off the Glass. This is the Gambling Guru, and we are here today with a special treat. That treat is a little bit of feedback and our special guest, Wolfgang Nelson, the star of the movie Down the Long River. If you've been following along with the podcast, you've been listening to several different guest stars talk about High Off the Glass and Down the Long River. We've had Tanner Guerin, the enforcer for the evil Tom Sock gang. We've had the director, Harry Culmer. And now, the ultimate guest himself, Wolfgang Nelson. I want everybody to welcome, welcome, Wolfgang Nelson. Wolfgang, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you for being here, man. So, followers of the show know that we always discuss a little bit of weed, a little bit of gambling, and sometimes a little bit of sports too. And today we've got a special little treat for everyone. We're going to do 9 bowls and 1 gas mask here on the show. That comes out to smoking a weed device every 6 minutes. So if you're really hyped, give us a round of applause. Oh, everyone is really stoked about this. Wolf, have you ever seen someone smoke 9 different pieces and a gas mask in less than an hour?
I have not.
Well, today is going to be the day, my friend. Today is going to be the day. So, my friends and listeners at home and watchers here on YouTube, let me introduce the character Wolfgang plays in this movie. He's going to be right here in the center. He is the heavy. He is flanked by 2 of his favorite henchmen. Wolf, would you like to, in your own words, give us a little information about your character? Tell us who he is in your own words.
Ezra Gao is an outlaw. The film takes place at late 1880s after the Civil War, and so they're out doing outlaw things and kind of living off the land, robbing and stealing. And he's got his crew that helps pull off the robberies and whatnot. The movie takes place where the doctor, who was an old member of the crew, is coming back for vengeance on Ezra Gao and the rest of the
The doc. Man, we're going to get into him. What a great character created by the writer and producer of the movie, Kurt Abisham. We really want to give a shout out to Kurt as often as we can. He's one of the most influential pieces in this entire thing we're going to talk about. So here to Ezra's right is Mr. Brian Davis, martial arts legend, star in stage and screen, the stunt coordinator for the film as well. Wolf, do you have any great memories about Brian on set? Mr. Davis is a true legend.
We had a lot of fun. We worked out a couple of little standoff types of small fights really easily. He's very knowledgeable, and yeah, he was just super fun to be on set. We were just had a lot of camaraderie, which I think amongst even the production crew and the outlaw crew, it felt like we had established we were all like part of the outlaw crew. I think everyone was, doing really great about working together, and it just was like a great vibe on set every day.
Yeah, this is a scene that Brian took personally from his cell phone. And we're just horsing around on set. If you're not familiar with the movie, it takes place in the year 1879. In the year 1879, the USA was struggling with the effects post-Civil War, dealing with the effects of Reconstruction. Ezra Gao is a Union soldier, as I recall.
Yeah.
And how did he meet his friend here?
Well, they were in the war together and fought in the same battalion, so they'd been through a lot together.
Yeah, the character's name is Moses Dubois. He has some French Creole influence, and in the Civil War, many bonds were formed that would last a lifetime. One of those bonds is with old half-faced Joe here. Half-Faced Joe, what a character. You can see that his face has been distorted by a severe burn. He carries a war club. If Ezra is the brains of the operation and Moses is the heart, what is old half-faced Joe here?
I'd say he's the hammer.
Yeah. He's definitely the hammer and the force of the gang itself. What were some of your favorite moments on set with old half-faced Joe? Do you remember anything in particular? Does anything stand out?
I think the favorite one was in the Gulch in Chesterfield, and he had two of his brothers on set, and they were all horsing around. They're great dudes. It was fun to see them messing with each other and whatnot. And then there was this log that we had shot that was falling across the creek, and we had filmed one character already kind of jumping over it or going under it or something. And then they were going to film Half-Face coming up and kind of jumping over it as well. But him and his brother we were all standing on it and walking across it and bouncing it. And him and his brother were on it and decided to have a little bit of a contest if he could knock his brother off. And so they're bouncing it, and then the dang thing broke in half. So we had to like figure out how to reset that broken tree up so that we could get continuity. And so we like built these little stick supports that would hold it up just good enough, and then we came up with him actually kicking the huge log and breaking it in half, and it just turned out so cool that we worked out that accident. So we did a couple takes, but so we'd do a take, he'd kick it down and break it, and then we'd have to reset the tree. So like 6 of us were jumping in and grabbing and picking this tree up, and then trying to rebuild the sticks that were holding it up and try to get it looking as continuous as we could for the next couple shots. It was awesome.
Yeah, this is a really intimate memory from Down the Long River. This film was meticulously planned inside and out, and this was one of the few curveballs that we had on set. Making the character in this moment with the action of kicking through the tree, it sort of cements the fact that this is one of the toughest guys you've really seen.
Oh, yeah. And it made the trailer.
Yeah, and it does make the trailer. So we might even play that here in a little bit if you keep listening and keep following along. So stay tuned. So Wolf, what were some of the locations that we filmed at? You know, you brought up the fact that we filmed in Chesterfield. This is the gulch that he's talking about. This is the leader's tent, the largest tent. There are, I believe, 10 different pup tents throughout the gang's camp. And this might look like a nice foggy day, but it was... All these smoke effects were created with, heavy 6-minute smoke bombs. So we really fogged everything up. Wolf, do you remember anything about our first location in Warsaw?
There's the log.
Yeah, you can see this. This is
pre-break. That's a cool still.
Yeah, this is one of the other actors, Colton Clark. This is his real name, by the way, Colton Clark. Jumping over this, he's escaping and running to, he's running to action. Let me just say that. So this was one of the big guest stars, Matt Cardona. This was one of the behind-the-scenes shots by our terrific still photographer, Tiffany Banks. And you can really see our night shots really worked out really well. Whenever we talk about Kurt Abishan, this is the guy we're talking about. He is the star of the film, the writer of the film, and the producer. If it wasn't for him, this dream never would have come true. Wolf, how many horses did you ride in the production?
I got to ride one horse, which is also a very good memory of the shoot. And also an improvisational, non-planned thing that production, I was very impressed, got a few shots because this guy who was like caretaker of the town we were shooting in, this like 1800s town that's on some land out in Warsaw, Missouri, he helps take care of it while the owners are out of town or whatnot. And he showed up on set with 3 horses, I think, randomly, just out of nowhere. Had them saddled up, ready to rock. And he's like, I didn't know if you guys needed some horses, but I got 3 horses here, and I was like, dude. And so he goes, you want to swing a leg over one? And I was like, hell yeah! So I took my sorry, I'm blanking, dude. The stirrups, not the stirrups, but the things on the heel. What the hell?
Oh, I don't know that much about saddles. Yeah, so you saddled up. You get into the
Yeah,
horse.
yeah.
Yeah. Is this the first time you've ever been on a horse?
No.
When was the last time you had been on a horse, Wolf?
Oh man, it was a while. Because I've only gone
Yeah.
like trail riding,
Oh.
which is like not really horse riding. I mean,
Oh,
you're on a
yeah.
horse, but you're not riding the horse per se.
Sure.
So we walked him, and he's like, asking me about my experience, and I said I'd never galloped a horse before, and so we sort of trotted him a little bit, and he was telling me about the horse, which was this rodeo star horse that jumps through like fire hoops and has this woman riding her, hanging off the side of the saddle, doing all the trick shots, doing all the, standing up on the saddle, and this horse would perform like a pro. And so he was telling me, we stopped outside of town, and he was wanting me to gallop through town. And he goes, all right, now, Will, if you run into a tree, that's because you didn't steer her around it. And she's going to go wherever you tell her. So wherever you point her, that's where she's headed. So just know that if she's heading towards something, you got to steer her around it, and she'll go. And I was like, oh, all right, man. So gave her a little kick.
Just to give the audience a clue here, we have the set in Warsaw that WolfGang is talking about is an entire reproduction of a Wild West town in the mid 19th century. So exactly what the film called for. And this local guy who owns the property brings several horses onto set and offers us, hey, these are well-trained animals, and he wants us to gallop through town as fast as he can. This guy he's never even read the script. Okay? This is a guy, he's so into the movie being there that he just wants to offer these horses to us. So Wolf, who has only been on a trail horse, steps into this. And it took him, about 25, 30 minutes to get you galloping at full speed?
Yeah, well, we did one run through, and I steered her around all the trees and people and whatnot, and then we came around and did, like, there was a big trail that kind of looped around outside of town just a little bit. I'm gonna say, quote, outside of town. It was just not a big loop, but yeah. So then production got the camera up, and so let's get a couple shots of this because we got Ezra Gao galloping through town now. So it was amazing. That horse was incredible, and she sure as heck did do anything you told her to, and was very intuitive to ride. You lay the rein over the neck, the right rein over the neck to go left. It was felt like a little bit opposite what you'd be doing, but
but that's what riding a
as soon as
horse
that
is all
rein
about,
touched her
isn't
neck,
it?
And then you could like give her a little bit of a nudge with your left heel and sort of guide the horse like that. And riding in a gallop was so smooth and fast, and just like you're on top of this animal that's like running. It was incredible. It's not like a motorcycle. I got a motorcycle. I ride motorcycles. I've ridden all my life. It was way more felt out of control almost than on a motorcycle, because it's a live animal and she's listening to you. You know what I mean? But still, it's got a mind of its own, which was a little intimidating. But nonetheless, yeah, we got a couple great shots of Ezra Gao coming through on the horse and stuff, and that was really cool. I was very happy that production jumped in and took that challenge to grab a few shots that were unplanned. The days are all timed out. There's a really crazy schedule you have to keep when you're on production, and we made some time to get that in the movie. If it makes the movie, I don't know, but we'll see. At least we got an option.
So you brought up that you ride motorcycles. You're a bit of an outlaw in real life too, aren't you, Wolf?
Yes.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, gotta love it. Gotta love it. So, what is some of your experience, and how did you relate that to Ezra Gao? What kind of like outlaw experiences, especially like, did that horse riding help you get into character? I remember the day that I met you. Full disclosure, you're talking to the assistant director for the movie, intimately involved, intimately, and
There she is.
Yeah, it's a good horse. Yeah, my God.
So cool.
And I knew the movie pretty much inside and out. And the moment that I met Wolf, I had just had a texting relationship with him for, I believe, about 2.5 months. And the day that I met him, I thought that he was the physical embodiment of the character. Very rarely do I get to interact with someone that is so perfectly cast, just absolutely is physically the role. Like when you think about, this is a leader of men, someone who's survived a bloody war that is if you look at the raw numbers, the one that has killed the most Americans in history. Over 400,000 people died
Yeah.
in several years in that just terrible war. And one of the things that I'm very proud about is that, you know, the director of the movie, Harry Comer, was able to see that when he, was recommended you. When he saw your pictures and stuff. What are some of your really good memories from Harry on the set?
Oh man, Harry, just incredibly intuitive, intelligent, and he had excellent direction. He was fairly hands off, as far as like if you needed a little push in one direction or another, he knew exactly how to say it without being intrusive, and just very insightful. And we would talk about the shots and everything, and he just was wonderful to work with. I went and saw him in his play in Kirkwood, and he's an incredible actor also. So he's an impressive all-around artist. He's a really impressive dude. And we had, I don't know, I mean, I think the one time I made everybody laugh was we were doing that in the pub or the bar, and I had to threaten the town, if you don't find the doc in the Pinkerton, I'll be back tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that.
Oh.
And this threatening kind of little scene, and then I'd come down the stairs.
Yeah,
and,
just to keep everyone on the same page, the Outlaw Gang, the Tom Sock Gang, of which Ezra Gow, played by Wolfgang Nelson here, is the leader of, is camped on the outskirts of a town in Missouri. They're waiting for a shipment of gold to come down the Mississippi River on its way to New Orleans. Their members have been pulling a little crime, making some things difficult. And so in this moment, Wolfgang, Ezra Gow, rides into town and he wants to teach everybody a lesson to make sure that everyone is not to be messed with. And he does that by going to the public meeting place, the bar. Now, Wolf, take us into what was probably one of the most hottest and grueling days on set.
It was hot, and it was even hotter inside the tavern with all the lights and whatnot. And we were all sweating, which I loved. I loved having real practical sweat. I felt like that was what those guys would be looking like, and I enjoyed it. But yeah, towards the end, we did a few takes, got everybody's coverage, and then one take I did it. I felt like particularly threatening as I did it, but then I had to walk down the stairs. I'm exiting the tavern, and all the crew and everybody's just over to the left, and I kind of put my hands like I had them on reins, and then kind of like galloped off, like on foot, and everybody started snickering until they called cut. And then they started laughing, and that just was it felt like it broke because it was a big day. It was a long day. Everybody was like, feeling tired, and it was coming towards the end of the, sun was going down. But that got a good laugh out of everybody, and it was just really fun and funny. Yeah, Harry just was like shaking his head, dude. He's like, you fucking fool. Because it's like I was all threatening, and then I come out and I'm a total goofball. I'm an actual clown. I might not even be classified as an actor. I'm just an actual clown.
So for the audience that's been listening for the last few weeks, you'll have heard Harry Comer, the director of the film, talk deeply about us finding this boat. This boat. Now you'll see it here on the long river. Wolf, do you want to tell the audience where this boat was and when we filmed this?
Yeah, so main principal photography took place last fall and into late summer into fall, and then we did one scene in the snow in January as like I guess a flashback. And then a few weeks later, I guess it was like April, that we all drove all the way up to St. Charles, Illinois, what about 60, 70 miles west of Chicago-ish. And they had this cool little boat.
Yeah,
And,
St. Charles, Illinois, the Fox River.
Yeah, it was really, really a neat location. Also, the guy that hooked us up with the boat, we should give him a little plug because Moon Pie Outdoors. That guy was super sweet and nice, and we're friends on Facebook now. And he's taking all these people on these really cool excursions, doing catfish fishing, duck hunting, like all the classic outdoor stuff. You can hire this guy to go and be a guide and take you out there and do some.
So here we go. We're gonna play the trailer here too. This is a live reaction here, everybody. Wolf, take us through the trailer.
Well, that's Warsaw right there.
Oh yeah.
That's the town in western Missouri.
Yeah.
And here's
that
some
tattoo
outlaws around the camp, which I think we mostly shot in Chesterfield. This is back in Warsaw. This is actually in a location downtown. That one shot that I was in.
Yeah. Hey, gambling, shooting.
Yeah, he's learning about the doc being in town.
There's he's wanted.
Pictured. Yeah, this is where they're learning about the doc coming around, and this is Ezra giving all the boys incentive to find him. And giving him $500 of his own money, which back then is a tremendous amount of money. There's a star from L.A.
That's Felissa Rose right there, everyone. Yeah, Felissa Rose. Yeah. Star of Sleepaway Camp. Over 200 acting credits, by the way.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, there's Tanner Guerin, Emil Flores. He was here 2 weeks ago on the podcast. If you want to go back and listen to us,
the log.
Check it out. Oh, my goodness. The log. I mean, legendary. I mean, absolutely. And there's that huge, beautiful smoke. Look at that silhouette. Oh, my gosh.
Legend.
John Medford. You can see him all over town in St. Louis playing different roles. Look at that. Kurt Aubuchon. The steely blue eyes. Down the Long River. It'll be coming out sometime next year. Early 2026 maybe.
Yeah.
We've pretty much got the picture locked down. We've pretty much finished all the shooting. If you want to hear about some of the details in that, you can go listen to last week's episode. I mean, my goodness. Where's this? There we go. Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, my God. Okay.
I just saw Sean Friday night. Went down to the Czech Rec Hall.
Yeah,
I
believe we should really shout out Sean Scott here. This is someone who has almost been on American Ninja Warrior several times. This is a true acrobat, a true martial artist, a true strongman, and really a true ninja. If I needed someone to get me into Fort Knox, I would be going to Sean to talk to him about the plan. If I needed someone to scale the wall, if I needed someone to be a stand-in for Tom Cruise, oh my God, dude, this guy is a killer.
He's a true Missouri stud hoss.
This is the only guy I think in Missouri that I know that would just jump off a cliff with a parachute. Like, I'm serious. This guy is I've seen him do a backflip, a standing backflip in dress shoes.
Yeah.
What were some of the most impressive feats you saw Sean accomplish on set, Wolf?
Well, I mean, I think, honestly, like he didn't have, he didn't have a whole lot of opportunity to do crazy stuff. I mean, we kept a pretty safe type of environment. It was really discouraged to try to do too much physical. Nobody wanted anybody falling down too much and stuff and getting hurt.
Yeah, this is some inside information right here. One of my favorite stories about Sean is the person that brought the horses onto the set. He owned the property, so he was there multiple days, talking to us about production. And Sean comes to me, I believe it was Tuesday, one of the hotter days. I was on lunch, and he says, "Hey, Marshall, this guy says I can go ride a bull at his house about 10 minutes up the road. Can I go ride a bull?" He says. Sean looks at me dead in the face, and he says, "Yeah, I want to ride the bull, but I feel like I should ask Marshall first, the assistant director. I'm not sure. I might have some scenes left." I look at him. I have to look at this guy and say, no, you can't go ride the bull. And Did you go on the ATV trip with those
Yeah,
guys?
yeah.
Yeah, can you tell me about that ATV trip? Because what you guys ended up doing, instead of riding the bull, what did you guys end up doing again?
We just went and picked up a couple of this dude's ATVs, and then he took us to this uh, part of the Truman Lake.
Well, when you say us, who do you mean? It was you,
It was
Sean, it was
Brian, yeah,
Brian.
and then oh gosh, what was his name? I think I'm getting a contact high.
Oh my God, we're so excited.
Yeah, all three of us, all four of us, we were kind of riding butts to nuts on the ATVs, and we just took these ATVs down these gravel roads, which was crazy and so dusty. And then we were able to go and jump in the lake, and he took us to where he said he'd had cliffs to jump off of. But they were actually just little rocks that were about 5 or 6 foot over the water, which the water was really low. And from what I could see, you were jumping onto other huge rocks. So it was not ideal. However, Sean saw one that was down the way a little bit and ended up walking down to it, and he kind of like gave it a good look, and then he did I don't know, he did like a front flip into the lake and then swam back. But we ended up going to a more of a beach, and then we all just kind of got in the water and floated around for a little while. I guess we had some time to kill before we were back on set. But yeah, it was really fun. And the only thing was, though, with all the dust, the guy would take off and get in front of me and he dust out the whole trail. I couldn't even see anything. I mean, I was like blind. I was flying blind, man. And he'd be in there like, and he's swinging it around. He's creating as much dust as he possibly can.
This absolutely terrifies the assistant director inside of me.
We're, I'm trying to keep up. I don't want to be
Yeah, you guys don't have helmets, right?
No.
Oh, of course not. No.
But
does anyone know about Ozzy Osbourne, by the way, on an ATV? Oh, anyway, that was him. This is you. You're definitely not. You're definitely nowhere close to Ozzy in terms of age. I think Ozzy was like 65 when that happened.
Did he crash an ATV or something?
Yeah, he crashed an ATV in his property. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the lake, everyone, that he's talking about is Lake Truman in Warsaw, Missouri. Shout out to Warsaw, Missouri. It is one of the most beautiful places I have ever seen. If anyone ever has a chance, go check out the Reel and Trigger Resort. That's where we stayed. The Reel and Trigger Resort, and I should be putting that in quotations, but honestly, it was quite a beautiful place. One of my favorite things about the Reel and Trigger was, well, the views in the morning. It is right next to the lake, and the lake, if you wake up in the morning, you can walk down to what they call the Eagle's Nest. It's about a 10-minute little hike, and if you get there early enough in the morning, the chances are very, very high that you will see an eagle. Wolf and Sean and I would walk down to the Eagle's Nest, and well, sometimes we would have to relax at the end of the day. And sometimes that meant, for me, smoking a bowl. Now, we have put the challenge down of smoking 9 bowls and a gas mask in 60 minutes. Wolf, do you want to guess where we're at on that challenge?
You're on number 4.
We're 30 minutes in, too, so I am not halfway done.
Wowzer. Yeah, normally I'd puff with you, but I got to do a freaking spec shoot tonight for a hat company.
Wow. A spec shoot tonight for a hat
like
company? That sounds awesome. Tell me about it, Wolf.
Photographer is, it's Henshaw Hats, I believe. And so he's got a few of the products, and we're going to go to Creve Coeur Lake, and then, Henchel hats. They're nice. They're really nice hats. So yeah, he's got a few products. We're going to go just shoot like a spec ad, basically, to then present to the client. And if they want to go ahead with us, then, they'll provide some budget and pay us to shoot a proper catalog / ads for the company.
So this could be some inside information that a lot of the viewers of High Off the Glass are not aware of. Wolf, can you explain exactly what a spec commercial is?
It's essentially like a concept that you shoot out and give the client a chance to see your work and your style and see if that works with their company, so that when they're ready to do an ad like proper, you've got a good chance of producing and shooting and starring in, or in my case, modeling in that ad. So yeah, it's kind of just like, it's just like like a camera test almost.
Yeah, what he is describing is you just make the ad and you send it to the company and you say, "Do you like this ad?" Oftentimes there is a chance that they might buy the intellectual property and the creators of the ad might, legitimately put themselves on the map. Um, what, you know, do you have any other ideas like what you guys are doing? Is it just going to be walking around the lake?
Yeah, and probably get up in some woods a little bit. It's kind of their outdoorsy hats. They're like, sort of adventure hats. Like they've got a really cool leather one that I like. Almost looks like a Crocodile Dundee hat type of hat. It would have been a good hat for Gow actually, because, it looks almost exactly like the hat that I wore and then it's got the braid already made on it. Me and Star made that braid for my hat to like give it a little something extra. And this hat actually comes with that. So, but yeah, it'd be like for if you're going fishing or you're going kayaking, or you could probably even wear them paddle boarding. And they look, I think like 80% of them are made in America or something. So that's kind of cool. I like, to try to buy clothes that are made in America. You got to pay a little bit extra for it, but I don't know. I just like to support those companies, for producing stuff here.
One of my favorite things about Wolf is one of the most interesting people I have ever met. And if you get if you've been listening and paying attention, you will know that playing Ezra Gow was not your first acting role. Do you remember, what was your first paid gig? What was your first big gig? This is a working actor with a long, long history. Wolf, do you want to tell us a little more in depth about who you are, where you come from? I know these are things that I know.
Yeah.
But it'd be, I would love to hear it from you right now.
Well, my first big production gig was on a Match.com commercial featuring Dr. Phil.
A Match.com commercial featuring
yeah, so I had
Dr.
to,
Phil.
I was one of 3 guys.
This is incredible.
It was a national. It was cool. Like, people saw it all over when they were playing it. But it was really cool because they put me in this harness under my clothes and then cut a hole right here and then in my back of my thigh on my pants to hang me from these wires, and they would take me up. So the commercial was a girl. You can actually look it up on YouTube. Just put Match.com Dr. Phil.
Was it around 2007, 2006?
Yeah. And so they dropped me onto this car, and I got to do like all these takes where they lift me back up, and it was this really cool winch that would drop you full speed and then stop you about 2 inches from the hood and then drop you. So you got a little bit of an impact, but you weren't coming at full speed, but you were actually dropping into frame at like full speed. It was super fun. And there was this German DP, every time they'd hoist me back up to like get ready to drop me again. He said it like 6 times, but he'd be like, "Hey, Wolfie, how's it hanging?" And he just thought that was the funniest thing ever when I'm up suspended.
Hey, Wolfie, how's it hanging?
Yeah,
okay, which guy are you?
I'm on the left.
This is you right here?
As a kid.
This is you? Oh my gosh, Wolf. Wow, okay, well, this is absolutely incredible. Oh my gosh, I love that this is still around.
That was a good
Wow, this is incredible. Congratulations, dude. This sounds great. So if anyone wants to watch this, at home, it's, the audio, of course, is muted because, copyright reasons. But you can probably watch it. Like, it's pretty easy to find. Match.com, Dr. Phil ad.
Yeah.
2006.
Yeah, see how far up he was dropping from? We were all dropping from that high. We were like out of frame on the wide, so they had us like 30 foot in the air or something, dropping down into frame. It was awesome.
Oh my goodness.
It was super fun. And the audition was hilarious too, because I went into this casting office and they have a big crash pad hanging out, right? And the guy's like, "All right, man, just fall on the pad." And I'm like, "Wait, you want me to just flop down on the pad? Just do whatever you want." And so I was like, I did like a huge jump and just like, crashed down on the crash pad and was like smiling and laughing. And he's like, "Oh, that was great." He's like, "You want to do it again?" And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to do it again. So then I'm like falling in all kinds of different ways, and I'm just having a ball. You know what I mean? Because there's something wonderful and comedic about being able to take a fall on any kind of camera situation. It's just hilarious, and I love doing it. I love taking a fall, and I've written myself, falls off roofs and things like that. I got a good one for you. We were shooting spec commercials. I wrote a couple of them, and did one where I fall off my mom's roof, but I had it so that I fall backwards over the edge, and you can't see me actually fall off the roof, but it looks like I fall off the roof. But then there was one we were shooting where I was playing a blind insurance adjuster who was supposed to be looking at a roof, and we shot this on like a porch cover, like over a front door. And they wanted me to act like I was walking off the roof, but I couldn't. It was kind of steep, so it was like as soon as I got near the gutter and tried to step, I couldn't step forward without going over, right? And there was nothing to fall on, so I couldn't actually fall off the roof. But you could tell on camera that when I put my foot out, it just didn't look legit. It looked like I'm just, because if I got my weight forward, I wasn't coming back, right? So we were trying to figure it out, and I said that they had a trampoline. I said, why don't we just pull the trampoline and put it under the porch, and I'll just fall onto the trampoline. And the guy down the house was like, nah, dude, nah, Wolf, you're not falling off my roof, all right? We'll figure it out. And I was like, but dude, I'm telling you, it'll be awesome.
You're not going to fall off the roof.
And
how much padding do you have when you're falling off a roof? Average roof in America is about 12 to 15 feet high, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never got to do it yet.
You didn't get to do it that day either.
No. So we're trying to figure it out. And I talked to the shooter, a local guy, Matthew Goodman, and I said, dude, what about we just go in the back and like, I'll just jump off the deck. We'll just pull the trampoline up right underneath the deck, and I'll just jump off. It was a build out deck from they had like a walkout basement, so that the deck was, like it was like a story high, and the railing was about a story and a half high. So it was probably like only like 12 or so foot from the railing to the trampoline. But anyways, I got my cane and I do my thing and I fall off and I bounce and Matt got the shot and we didn't tell anybody about it. You know what I mean? But they all freaking loved it, right? And then he accidentally erased the entire project while trying to transfer it from the card to his hard drive. So we had to go back and shoot it again on Thursday. Well, now everybody knows what we're doing. So everybody's out there to watch me fall off the deck onto the trampoline. You know what I mean? So I do it again, and it went well, but I kind of like felt like my shoulder a little bit. I was kind of like, oof, like something, that didn't feel great, but I'm okay. So he's looking at people's phones because they're like shooting it with their phones too, and he's like, oh, dude, Wolf, you got one more in you? Because I could get this other angle, and I think if I get this angle, we could maybe possibly cut both of these shots together. And, I'm not going to puss out. So I was like, hell yeah, I got another one in me. Are you kidding me? Let's do this. And so I did it. And then I felt like something pop in my shoulder. And I bounced because I was laying on my stomach. And so I bounced up and kind of like, something's wrong with my shoulder. And I landed back on the trampoline again. And I reach over and like my arm is gone. It's like not in there. I mean, it's still there. So I dislocated my shoulder. And I've never dislocated my shoulder before. You know what I mean?
So for the audience at home, if you're just listening, when you dislocate your shoulder, what exactly happens, Wolf?
You're just hanging on by your tendons and your muscles. Like there's no bone connection anymore. There's no rigidity.
Yeah,
your arm feels
just
like
completely
it's missing.
loose.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like hanging there by skin and muscle. And so... Matt's like, oh my God, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, dude, I think I just dislocated my shoulder. And he's like, well, and I fucking just had adrenaline, right? So I walk over, I kind of crawl over to the edge of the trampoline, and I pick my arm up, and I grabbed the round frame of the trampoline and just pulled, and just snapped it back into place, man. And he about threw up because it made a real loud pop. I popped it back into place. And he's like, oh my God, I can't believe you just did that. And I'm like, well, what are you supposed to do? I ain't going to urgent care, man. I'm not doing all that. You know what I mean? Like, I fixed it. And so everybody was, freaking out.
And how did you pop that in again? Tell me one more time.
I went over to the edge
on like bowl 8 here.
Yeah, I went over to the edge of the trampoline, and I lifted my dislocated left arm up and put it so I could grab the bar of the trampoline. And then I just pulled and held on and just gave it a yank, kind of and it popped right back into place. And
Yeah, so if anyone is ever doubting what it takes to be an actor, okay, yeah, I need you to listen to this story and understand that being an actor means a little bit more than just memorizing some lines.
Well,
You have to be willing to put everything, every little bit of yourself into a role. Isn't that right, Wolf?
yeah, for sure, for sure. This is this is just me being ridiculous, this situation. But so, everybody's looking up WebMD or whatever, and they're like, the first thing they say is like, don't try to pop it back in. And I'm like, well, I already popped it back in. Like, I'm all good. And so I had another spot to shoot where I had to then be getting some zombie makeup and then run around like a zombie. Man, it was hurting. It was sore. It did not feel good, the shoulder. But it kind of informed the zombie character because it kind of felt like, I just moved with it, But then when I was having to kind of flop around and like die as a zombie, that was like a little painful. But the real kicker was that I had ridden my motorcycle up there that day because I knew I could, stuff a little bit of the wardrobe in my backpack. And so I wanted to ride the bike up there.
Wait, that means you have to ride the bike home
Yeah.
after you've
dislocated my shoulder.
Well, I guess you really relocated your shoulder, didn't you? This is the story. Like the story is that you relocated your shoulder after.
Yeah, dislocating it. So, so thankfully the way my bars are kind of low, and I didn't have to lift my arm much. I grabbed the clutch a few times just to make sure that like I could still grab the clutch and ride it. But it was nerve-wracking because any kind of like little bump or anything, I mean, it was super sore. It was, I didn't have like full power in it, right, So so I took the B roads home, and it took a little bit longer, but yeah, I made it back and parked the bike and stuff, and then like put some ice on my shoulder for the rest of the evening.
Wow, this is a true legend.
Dude.
Folks, a true legend. Everybody, give him a round of applause.
Hey. But in LA, dude, I got one.
What year was this, Wolf?
Oh, this is just a couple years ago. This is probably like right post-pandemic, like 2023 or something.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
dude! Congratulations! Yeah, congratulations.
But in LA one time, dude, when you were saying, about relating to the outlaw. Well, I was kind of an outlaw. I used to drive for like a weed crew, and this is like when it was becoming legal, but not quite legal. You know what I mean? Like it was still,
well,
obviously it's federally still illegal, but back then, like California was
gray
just
market before.
Yeah, it was like just becoming. There was a few stores popping up and stuff, and so I would get $1,000 to like go drive from LA up to Northern California, up near like Garberville, and pick up some weed and then drive it back, and they'd pay me $1,000 to do that.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, back then you couldn't even deposit money in the bank. Okay, times have completely changed since companies had to do these kinds of this is what they would call outsourcing labor back in the day. This is essentially a corporation just, hey, we need product, this is how it gets here. And over the years this kind of stuff has become less necessary because these are things that are a little bit more recognized by the states now. And even in 2009 and 10 and 11, the state of California was already recognizing these things because moving these large amounts of cash, throughout, intermediaries is just, it's just kind of thing that creates problems. And why don't we just take that out of the equation? And one of the things we love about High Off the Glass is that we get to talk a little marijuana history sometimes. And reciprocity is one of my favorite words, everyone. Reciprocity is the word of the day. Wolf, do you know what reciprocity means?
I feel like I have an idea. Reciprocity? I can't give you the exact definition.
Do you need to ask the audience?
Audience, what does it mean?
Ask the audience?
What's the exact definition?
Reciprocity means that one state recognizes the laws of another state. Yeah. One state recognizes the laws of another state. It's kind of a fancy way of saying something like, your laws are my laws, something like that. Like, you know what? We have the power of the internet here on the show, as we've been displaying with some of these wonderful pictures. Wolf, That day in the snow that we're seeing here, was that the coldest day that you've ever been on a set before?
No, no. Did a photo shoot for a design firm that's downtown one time. We shot it in like January 26th, and I had this barn that they were looking for like a real rustic location, and I said I know about this really cool barn.
Was that this year?
No, this is a couple years ago. It was several years ago. And so we went up there, and it was super cold, right? What I don't understand about, you going down these old brick buildings and stuff in St. Louis, it's like actually like 10 or 15 degrees colder in the building than it is outside. So when it was like, 22 degrees outside, it was like 15 degrees in this building. And they brought all this wardrobe up to this, what used to be where they would store hay in the top, like a big loft almost, It was really cool. So they brought all the wardrobe up, and I had to change and do all these different looks, right? Well, the fucking wardrobe was like freezing, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like the clothes were like freezing. And so I'm like, and it's just some like fall type looks. I'm not wearing heavy overcoats, right, for this shoot, I'm wearing like Western shirts and like, and so they're like, you're taking them off the rack and they're like stiff because they're so cold. So I'm like putting these shirts on, man. I'm trying not to shake as they're taking their stills. And God knows how many outfits we did, but we did all these looks, and that one was the worst. That was because I was not only having to undress and redress, but undress out of super cold clothes into another set of super, super cold clothes. And that was the roughest, coldest shoot ever, which is funny because, modeling seems like such a silly thing, but then you go and you do a crazy shoot like that, and it's like you got to have some gall, I mean, I wanted to get it done. I wasn't going to be like, I can't do this, We shot it out and got it done.
So did you have a heater on set?
No. No, dude. It didn't even occur to me, though. I was the one that kind of set the whole thing up. You know what I'm saying? It didn't even, I don't know. It just didn't occur to me. I didn't think, I was thinking like,
you didn't have how far was the room that could help you get warm?
It was a house that was probably like 120 yards away.
That's a little longer than a football field. For everyone watching at home, that's a football field with one end zone.
Yeah.
It's a long way.
It was a little bit of a walk. But yeah, like I said, we got it done. But that was the coldest for sure.
Or is that a football field with both end zones?
I don't know. I mean, I'm guesstimating. Maybe it wasn't that far. Maybe it was more like 50 or 60 or something.
Okay. That's still a long way on a very, very cold day.
Yeah.
That is so. Oh God, that's tough.
But dude,
that's tough, dude.
Real quick, I wanted to tell you this one situation where I had gone to bring this farmer up because they'd rotate guys to like grow up in the cabin, And I was bringing the new guy up one Saturday night, and we were heading up on the 5, and there was this truck accident. This truck like wrecked and caught fire, and so they were rerouting everyone out into the middle of nowhere. And so we had left late. My boss called me late and said, "Hey, can you take Matt up?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right." I was gonna get paid, and I didn't have anything else going on, so I said, "Yeah." So we left about midnight or something. Well, due to this route around the 5, by the time we should have been like almost more than halfway up there, where we were not even like a quarter of the way up there. And I'm like so tired. And this dude wouldn't drive because he said he was on some kind of prescription drugs or something, and he just didn't want to drive. So I hit my guy up, Joe. I said, "Yo, can I get a hotel room or a motel, man? I'm dying." I'm like, and he goes, "Yeah, just if you got enough money to pay for it out of your pocket, pay for it out of pocket. We'll reimburse you. But if you don't, then get some money out of the envelope." So I was taking a sealed envelope with a bunch of cash. I never asked how much. And I never opened the envelope. I had handed to who I needed to hand it to when I got up there, and that was it. And so I brought it in with me to go get this Motel 8 room, Super 8. And as far as I remember, I had enough. I brought the envelope.
What year was this?
This is probably like 2000, like 2010, 11 maybe.
Wow.
Or maybe a little bit earlier, maybe like 2008 or 9. Because I think I only stayed until 2010. So yeah, it had to have been like '08 or '09. I brought the envelope in to get a room, and I ended up having enough cash to pay for it, you know? So then I noticed that they had just put out the continental breakfast, the cereal and stuff. So I made this gigantic bowl of Fruit Loops and walked back to the room and ate it. Crashed out, you know, we had to check out at 11 because it's like 6 in the morning. So we just crashed for a couple hours. And then I wake up and I can't find the envelope with all the money in it. And I'm like, this is a problem. So I'm trying to rack my brain about where was the last time I had it, and I'm like, fuck, I think I left it in the reception, you know? So I walked back down there, and the same guy was working, thankfully, and I said, dude, I had this envelope of money from my grandma, and I think I may have left it here. Have you happened to see that? And he, of course, was like, no, I didn't see any envelope. And I'm thinking, he's stonewalling me, you know what I'm saying? Because I know that's where I left it. So I called Joe, and he's like freaking out. And he goes, I got to call Dave. That's the boss. And tell him. He goes, just go get some breakfast, and I'll call you back in a little bit. But he's like, you gotta keep going up there, though. You got to go. And so I was like, okay. So we eat breakfast. He calls back, and he's like, all right, man, you know, head on up there. And I said, well, what did Dave say? He goes, Dave is not happy. Dave is screaming. He's really pissed off. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, now I'm going up to the Lions Den.
Who wouldn't be angry in that situation?
Right, and I didn't even know how much money it was. I was figuring it was like $1,000 or something, which $1,000 is $1,000. But when you're in that trade, like $1,000 isn't the end of the world. You know what I mean? Definitely didn't think I was going to be getting beat up or anything over, but it turned out it was a little bit more than $1,000. So I get up there, and there's supposed to be all these dudes up there trimming because they had just harvested, right? And that's part of the reason why I'm going up. I'm going to bring a bunch of weed back down, yo. And nobody's in the cabin except for Dave. And he's sitting on the couch, and he goes, sit down. And I'm like, we sit down, and he goes, so, you had a $5,000 bowl of cereal, huh? Is that what happened to my money? And I was like, dude, and I told him the whole thing. I explained to him, and I'm like, as far as I know, that is exactly what happened. I even asked Joe if he wanted me to follow the guy home. I was going to follow the guy home and shake him down. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I know that dude had it, right? And Joe's like, Joe told me, no, we don't need the heat, man. Don't do that. And so I'm like, but I was ready to follow that dude home. And so I'm like, where is everybody? And he's like, they're out in the woods getting drunk because you lost their fucking paychecks. And I was like, oh, God, you know. And so he's like, you better get up there to that table and start trimming because you owe me some money. And I was like, oh, my God, you know. Well, the real thing was that I had booked this part that was coming up. This is like on a Sunday that, you know, on a Sunday afternoon I get up there. And we're supposed to be leaving on like Monday afternoon. Well, for whatever reason, we don't leave until like Tuesday night. And I'm supposed to get this. I had a job for a TV show on Spike TV. And you don't have any reception up there, right? So they were calling to confirm me for Wednesday. So we're rolling down. As soon as we get down off the mountain, you know, then I've got reception. But my phone's low and stuff. And I'm calling them back. And they're like, man, you know, you didn't confirm, like, I've got to call the producer and see if we replaced you already. And I'm thinking, gosh, dang it, man, I lost this freaking acting job because of this silly-ass weed stuff, you know, like, this isn't why you're out here, you know, and it was really upsetting. So we're driving down, and I write down the number of the guy, and I ask, my phone dies, and, I tell him, I give him Ferrari's number, who was another guy in the crew. His nickname was Ferrari. And I give him Ferrari's number. And I say, you just please call him back because my phone's going to die, and I'm having problems, you know. And so I asked Ferrari, can I just borrow your phone, dude? We stopped for gas. Can I just borrow your phone? And he's like, no, dude, I need to call my girl, like when we go through L.A. And I'm like, bro, I'm going to lose this fucking acting job, man. Please, let me just till we stop next, you know. And he's like, no, dude, I'm not giving you my phone. And I'm like, dude. And then so Dave's like, come on, let's go. And he throws a phone at me. And I catch this phone, and I'm like, all right, whatever. I got the number written down, you know. And we get on the highway. We're on the 5 again. We're running a little bit of a convoy. Like I was in an S10 with all the gear. And then they were running an Escalade, and there was one other car behind us. I think it was an old Jeep. And so I'm fucking trying to turn this phone on, and it's dead. And so I pull out of the line and pull up next to the Escalade where Dave is, and I roll the window down. I'm like, fuck you, Dave! You know what I'm saying? I'm screaming, dude. I'm like driving all erratic, and I'm fucking yelling at him. And Ferrari rolls the window down. He's like, dude, what is going on? And I'm like, dude, if they call that phone back, please answer the phone and tell them I will be there in the morning, okay? Tell them I'll be there. And he's like, all right, man, calm down. And I'm like, and I'm showing Dave the phone like this, and I'm like, fuck you. And I took it and I just threw it into the dash, and I was so pissed. I was actually kind of crying and stuff. I mean, I was so upset. I thought I was going to lose this acting job over all this crazy little silly weed gangster nonsense. You know what I mean? And I was so upset, dude. And so I'm like freaking out. And finally we get down to, we're getting closer to L.A., and Ferrari puts a thumbs up out the window. So I cruise back up, and I'm like, what up? And he goes, all right, they called. They said you're on for tomorrow. And I was like, okay, great. So the boss lived in Palm Springs. So you had to drive through L.A. and then out the 10 to go down to Palm Springs. That's when everybody's like trying to like work out the money and stuff. And now it's getting really late. It's like 3 a.m. I'm supposed to be on set by like 8:30 or something. And it's up in Barstow. So I've got to still drive, you know, I've got to find a car. I didn't have a car at the time. So I asked the dude, we finally break at like 2:30 in the morning and start heading back from Palm Springs to L.A. And I asked my buddy who was driving back. He was going straight to Hollywood, but my place was downtown at the time. I said, dude, can you please just drop me off at my place? Because otherwise I would have just gone to Hollywood and take the train. But, dude, I got to get there. I got to get my wardrobe together. I got to find a place to take a shower.
Hold on. So you're getting pretty deep into the weeds in this story here. So this sounds like the greatest screenplay I've ever heard, really. This is the most epic pitch ever, okay?
Well, I guess, to make a long story short, he dropped me off. I rode a bike to my friend's place in on Wilshire in Midtown. He let me borrow his Beamer, and I was then able to take a shower in his place, jump in his car, and head up and try to beat traffic. Because, like, it's like, you know, anywhere in L.A. takes 2 hours to get there. So it's like 6:30. I'm trying to be there by 8:30. So I jam, and I haven't slept, right? I show up on set, dude, and I'm just hammering coffee, right? Like, I'm like just so happy that I made it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, I didn't lose the job. And the director was this British guy, and he's like, mate, you've got to fix that phone. You nearly lost you the job. And I'm like, man, if you knew what I just went through to be here, dude.
Oh my gosh,
you know?
dude, this is insane.
So then I did the job, and it worked out.
And everything was fine after that.
Yeah. Oh, except I owed Dave $5,000. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
Which I had to do then free drives. I had to do free. I had to drive. He let me do 3 free drives, and then he paid me again. But
So Wolf, we're coming towards the end here.
Sweet.
You know, we have been racing towards a conclusion, and that conclusion is a gas mask. Tell me, Wolf, while I'm using this like weird little like contraption here, tell me, what is like the first time you ever got high, or what is like the most high you've ever been? You know, have you ever been like so high you've been on another level? I have done almost 10 complete rounds here. This is pretty intense.
Yeah, you're probably pretty high.
So we got about a minute left, couple of minutes left. So tell me, what was one of the, what's one of your favorite times that you've ever been high?
Well, my buddy and I decided to have a couple drinks and eat some mushrooms, and then went down to this little bar we could walk to and had a couple drinks. We started feeling the mushrooms kicking in, so we decided to walk back. And they started kicking. We started to feel pretty good, funny, laughing. You know, you're laying on the ground, rolling around. It's hilarious. And then we decided to do a couple shots of tequila. And after that, we had the excellent decision-making to go ahead and split this huge mushroom. That was like, we were calling it Gandalf because it looked like Gandalf's staff. White, swirled with blue. It was intense. And we split it. And after that, I was like going through different portals, and I don't know, I called my sister at some point, and I didn't realize I was on the phone with her. But I hit these things like I was going through time and space, like I couldn't see anything except lights and colors. And all of a sudden I hear my sister, and she's like, Bubby? And I'm like, Brittany, where are you? And I'm like crawling around on my hands and knees, like trying to pick up the phone or realize that she's on the phone, you know what I mean? Oh man, it was crazy. That was definitely the highest. Your eyebrows are high now.
I feel like I have smoke coming out of
You're emanating.
every piece of my body right now. There's
arm
weed.
hairs are high.
I'm not just a little high. I'm every hair on my head high.
Yeah.
I hope you've had a good time over the last hour or so listening to my good friend, WolfGang Nelson. He is one of the best actors I have ever met. He is by far one of the most interesting people you will ever know. I hope all of you have learned a few things over this last hour. I hope you've enjoyed this little quest of mine to smoke 9 bowls and one gas mask, all on your time. A couple of clinks, a couple of bowls. I've gotten these things from every country and every state, every place I've been. I hope all of you have something that you collect and something that you treasure, something that you love, and something that you'll never forget. This has been the Gambling Guru and his good friend, WolfGang Nelson. I hope all of us can get together sometime, burn one, and talk about the time. All of us will know at the end of the day what we were meant for and why we are here. WolfGang, tell me something before we go.
Something.
Yeah.
I do think I have a contact high.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's gonna make things better when you're doing this spec commercial later. Yeah. You're gonna be wearing hats, okay? Now, what is your motivation?
What are we fishing for again?
Is it to wear the hat or to experience the hat? Is it to enjoy the moment? Does the hat just protect you from things? What's going through your head while you're gonna be filming this commercial? Do you have a backstory?
Say something like, don't let the clothes wear you. You gotta wear the clothes.
Don't let the clothes wear you. You've got to wear the clothes.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Own it.
Yeah, this has been the Marijuana Minute. This has been High Off the Glass. My friend O the Great will be back soon. He's recovering from shoulder surgery. He could not relocate his shoulder like my good friend WolfGang. No. What a legendary story. Something to be told and passed down. Hopefully everyone will listen to it. This has been the Marijuana Minute. High Off the Glass. This is the Gambling Guru with picks. Picks from High Off the Glass. This World Series is coming up. I think we're going to go with the Phillies. Next week, we're at least going to take the Phillies in any game they play. Let's go, Kyle Schwarber. Let's see a home run. Everybody knows it. Let's all have a little bit of fun. Until next week, this has been the Gambling Guru, WolfGang Nelson. Please, tell us something before you go.
Stay safe. Stay sane. Be good out there.
Yeah, we've all got to drive somewhere. We've all got